Hello and welcome to the UK Game Shows Bothers Bar uh, poll of 2015 results. Um, and we have with us two eminent game show commentators. We have, first of all, Daniel Peake.
Good evening, David. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And we have the man who knows all, well, certainly as far as the game show results are concerned, yeah.
Envelopes for maximum drama. That's what we like. That's what we're all about here. Hi.
So, what have we been doing? Well, we have been asking for your votes for the worst and the best game shows of 2015 and your favourite game shows of overall that you currently watch. And Nick has been compiling all the results, and Dan and I have no idea what is going on. Well, no, that's nothing new. So we have to say thank you to the backroom staff who've been tirelessly counting all of your results over the last few weeks, and we currently have a result which are in the envelopes that that Nick has. There they are.
They are for magic envelopes, golden white envelopes.
And we can now reveal, now that it's gone past 9 o'clock, that we're predicting that Richard Osman will remain as UK Game Show Prime Minister in a coalition government with Would I Lie to You? So on a reduced majority from last year. So we will see whether that comes out. Now, we have a little bit of interactivity as usual, because this is now traditional, the second time we've done this. So if you want to go to that URL, tinyurl.com/bbpoll2015p1, you'll come up with a little form. So obviously do that in a different browser window, otherwise you'll lose us.
I'm just going to propagate that on Twitter very quickly.
Yep, so by all means, go to that URL and fill out the form while you listen to us wittering on. And also, any questions, comments, or feedback you have on the poll itself, use the hashtag BBPoll on Twitter. I'll leave it up there for a few more moments while you get the hang of it. So, just to explain what our first category is, it'll be the Hall of Shame, which will be for the worst new game show over the past 12 months, and the format we normally do is we have a quick mention of positions 10 to 6, and then we go through 5 through 1 in a bit more detail. So that's a reminder of what we had last year, and I have to say, quite good, except for the fact that The Jump has turned out to be Channel 4's biggest entertainment hit.
Yeah, I think I ended up quite liking The Jump. I didn't think it deserved to be there, if I remember correctly. Everything else, I pretty much agree with.
Does it bode well that they're changing almost every facet of it then for this upcoming series? It's not daily, it's going to be weekly, they're all living in a house, it is essentially Big Brother on Ice. Is that...
Well, I don't know. We have to wait and see how it turns out. It's basically, they turned it into like the games proper, because they used to live together at the games as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it's this week. So it's going to be over 8 weeks, I think, which is it's going to be a long time. But by the time it finishes, it'll be spring. So that's interesting, isn't it?
Okay, so let's go through the results for 2015 then.
By the way, I did write upside down the envelope, so don't worry about that. That's just the way I roll. Okay, so very quickly going through 10 through 6. In joint 9th, the Quizium and You're Back in the Room.
Mm-hmm.
In joint 7th, Benchmark and The Edge. And in joint 6th, 5-Star Family Reunion.
Right. Now I've heard that that was a contentious position at number 6.
Well, of all the comments we had, a lot of people who didn't like 5-Star Family Reunion really didn't like it, and because this won't actually make a final write-up, I've actually plucked some of the the best comments here because I think it'd be a waste. What have we got here? 5-star family don't know the capital of Netherlands but still get a trip to the Maldives reunion. Tensionless, gimmicky, vapid, and mostly isn't anything to do with a holiday. For a longer time, I thought Prize Apart was the obvious winner for this year. Then came along a show so bad, so rancid, I had to change my mind. This show is worse than Face the Clock. A show that, if even thought about for mere moments, makes little to no sense. The money can buy them a holiday. Why are they also playing for money? In caps. The fact that none of the early rounds matter, because it does bugger all for the final round, really. The hilarious fact they obviously wanted a huge metronome, but realised physics don't work that way, and had to focus stupidly close up on an office toy in the first place, which had nothing to do with anything. This was a horrendous mishmash that was not thought through or play tested before it went to air, and boy did it show. Comfortably, one of the worst game shows of all time. So looking forward to series 2 of this in the spring. I think it's starting up again. So yeah.
So I mean, like, this is a format that has been recommissioned, and it also did reasonably well in the first series ratings.
Yes, I can't pretend I love 12-yard shows. They've cornered the ready salted crisp quiz market, which is just sort of bland. Really, if Nick Knowles was a genre, then that he'd be doing this. But I've always quite big on commercial consideration, and it is a market that deserves. There's plenty of people who want it, and they seem to cater to that audience. So I can't dispute that.
All right,
Just not for me personally, but
I look forward to reading the comments on that later then. So let's go to position 5 then.
Position 5, Decimate. Okay. Which was, in fairness, certainly one of the more boring shows of the year, to be honest.
It is answer 30 questions.
And then do the ending.
Mm.
And the jeopardy gets gradually lower as the episode progresses, which I find weird.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, it's a bit strange, isn't it? That, I mean, it's not like Deal or No Deal where it can be a bit of a roller coaster of highs and lows. It's just sort of a gradual low. So, I must admit, I don't get it. I must be honest. But it did well enough for a recommission, so we'll see.
It was weird. They were recommissioning all sorts of things. The Edge got recommissioned. Now, admittedly, the Edge improved its second series. Decimate didn't really do anything. It wasn't people who knew each other, maybe teams. It was just three members of the team together.
And I think that certainly helped because there was more dynamic interaction between them.
Did it come across on the screen?
I think so, a little bit, yeah, but it was still just drawn out over too many minutes.
Okay, well, position 4 then.
Position 4 is Harry Hill's Stars in Their Eyes.
Interesting.
A lot of people didn't like this. Now, I was not a massive viewer of the original Stars in Their Eyes back in the day, and the first episode or two I quite enjoyed Harry Hill's Stars in Their Eyes, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was quite funny. And then episode 3, I thought, actually, I really can't be bothered. I mean, I quite like TV Burp. Fine. I quite like the lyrics they put to the theme tune. I quite enjoyed that.
The mistake was even associating it with Stars in Their Eyes, really, wasn't it? It wasn't the same show.
Not really. I mean, well, it was. It was at its heart. The format was the same. Which is all the other stuff they put into it, which didn't really work, did it? Really? Not for the audience, anyway. I mean, I respect they tried something, and it didn't really work out. I think that's the takeaway from that.
I think we've reached peak remake, and there's probably not a lot else.
Oh, you wait and see.
Well, surely, everyone's going on about a 3-2-1 remake for the last 10 years or so. Surely it's only a matter of time before it finally happens.
Yes. Okie dokie.
Okay.
So let's go to position 3.
Joint, actually, a joint second place on the same
Oh.
amount of votes.
Okay, well, the first one of those is.
Pick me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, I can kind of see why that is the case.
Fun quiz, wrong time slot.
For me, it was only ever really compelling when it was played to a decent level. Otherwise, it suffers from members of the public trying to be funny, and that really annoys me more than it probably should do.
You say that, but I saw some episodes where it sort of looked like people were playing it ridiculously badly, and ended up playing it so badly that they were actually good at it.
Yes.
I'll miss those episodes, evidently. I watched about 5 to 6 of them, so it's quite a lot I didn't see of it. And it's another fabulous failure for Stephen Mulhern, bless him.
Isn't it being broadcast in India at the moment or somewhere?
I believe so. Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Malaysia, yes.
They must be so confused about British culture.
I could definitely see it as the sort of show that tries to sell abroad because it's such a simple format. And actually, if you think about it, quite a high prize budget for its time slot in the afternoon. At least £5,000 plus £5,000 plus prizes plus big holiday at the end. So evidently that made up for the lack of set.
Well, quite a lot of the prizes were sponsored and so on. So
true.
Anyway, well, we might. I'm interested to see if that comes up in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe it makes the Hall of Fame as well.
Maybe we'll see. All right, let's have the other second place.
Enjoy second place. Prized apart.
Prized apart.
Another high-profile.
Not flop. First place.
First place.
I think in the industry, I think a lot of people would have put that up there as number 1 because of the fact that it probably had the most money spent on it for the least amount of viewers.
I feel sort of sorry for it. I see what they were trying to do. It wasn't very successful at it. The thing is, I knew it was sort of not very good when I went and seen it being filmed live, and I thought, this isn't really doing it much for me. And then I got lost on the way out of Farnborough Airport, which is probably more exciting than any of the challenges on the actual show, sadly.
I didn't feel that the filmed bits were exciting enough. I felt that they edited out all the interesting bits and tension was not there.
Yeah.
I've seen The Amazing Race, and to be fair, they over-egg everything in The Amazing Race, but it was a poor man's attempt at An Amazing Race. It just wasn't interesting.
Yeah.
I did think a lot of the challenges just weren't very well thought out. I mean, the one in the market, for example, was just a nothing challenge. What was the point of that? It doesn't really feel very dangerous or exciting. I mean, I get it was sort of everyday people being have-a-go heroes. Yep, fine. The conceit of having one person do adventure, the other person try and save quizzes. I didn't mind that. I thought it was quite an interesting idea, but it didn't really work or come across the way they did it, sadly. And then everyone complained about the carbon emissions, which I thought was a ridiculous thing to complain about if you consider any other show that's been broadcast internationally anyway. So, yeah. Nice try. I mean, also, I have to say, of all the shows that got slagged off this year, I watched every episode. Not because I thought it was very good, but I was sort of invested in it by sort of episode 2 or 3. So I did see it through. And I thought it was a good winner as well. I was quite pleased that whoever won did win. So I haven't spoiled that in case you want to watch that on YouTube or something at a later date. So, yeah.
Okay. Just seeing some of the reaction that's come in. Hideous Yoke says, "Wow, I really hated Decimate. Thought it was worse than 5th place." Alex Richards is surprised that 5-star Fountain Reunion isn't even in the top 5, and he eats its betting slip in shock. Well, obviously the William Hill has been doing big business on the results of the poll.
There was actually a little bit of a gap between Decimate and 5-star Family Union. I was actually upset because the comments of 5-star Family Union were quite funny, so I wanted that in the top 5. So I will probably put up on Bother's Bar as aside from the main write-up, just so not wasted. I think that'd be unfair otherwise. So yeah.
Okay, so
What do you think the worst #1 show is? And this surprised me a little bit.
wow. Now then, am I allowed to have a look at what I voted for and see if it was one of those?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
What's #1, Dan?
Have we had Eternal Glory yet?
No.
It could be I Survived the Zombie Apocalypse.
Oh, yes, yes.
That certainly got my vote. Now,
Yep.
if I'm looking a bit rough this evening, I didn't sleep well last night. I was having terrible indigestion problems, and I had some Rennie, and it didn't really work. Another show where some Rennie didn't really work was Freeze Out, which topped the poll. With 10 episodes this year. I
disagree.
Bad? Really? It won by some way, actually. Well, not. It wasn't a thrashing, but there's certainly quite a lot of clear water between this and whoever came second.
Ooh.
It's because it's sort of replacing the chase. Not replacing the chase, because it's just where they try out their various slots.
Well, yeah, but Rebound it's further down. Rebound has got votes. I can look up where Rebound has come along. Actually, give me a second. Rebound, just out of interest, but I thought Rebound's a better show anyway. But Rebound came actually joined 11th. Actually.
Well, I preferred Freeze Out to Rebound.
Oh, I can't take that.
But given the likes of I Survived a Zombie Apocalypse, which was a far worse show.
That came way down the list. It got votes, and I voted for it, I think.
Is this because that's way back in February, was it? January, February last year?
I think it was January, February, but it was so boring.
Did anything ever happen?
Big budget, and nothing happened on it. Well, actually, that's not fair. I gave up for 2 episodes, so something might have happened after that. I don't know. Yeah. Freeze Out. The worst show. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was. Things I could have done differently, but I didn't think it was worse than Decimate or Prized Apart or any of the other shows really on the list so far. To be honest.
Okay, I think the tone of it was a bit misguided. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing with Rennie and some of the difficult education decisions and some of the rounds didn't really quite work, but it was certainly kind of fixable. I mean, it was fairly obvious that Rebound of the two is the better show to me, but there wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that much difference between the two. Well, that is quite a surprise, I have to say.
Yeah. It got 10.9% of the vote. It's actually pretty low in terms of percentage of the #1 will get of a poll. There's quite a long tail for this. There were something like 45 different shows. 42 different shows got votes. So, yeah.
Just a reminder, if you just joined us, it's just about time to join in with our poll. So if you go to tinyurl.com/bbpoll2015p1, then you can fill out a poll and we'll have a look at your responses of that very soon.
If anyone's asking about where things came, I can answer that. For Jamie Murphy, Freeze Out as the worst game show 2015. I thought ITV's Flock started in top 5. No, it actually came joint 14th. In fact, 11, 12, yeah, for joint 14th. Actually, same as I Survived Zombie Apocalypse. To be honest, I'd take Flockstars over I Survived Zombie Apocalypse any day. Flockstar is actually a fine. Is actually fine as a format. Everyone always went, "Oh, it's Sheepdog Trials. That's gonna be rubbish," and everyone assumed it was rubbish. Actually, it was fine. Generally surprised. Almost Possible Game Show didn't give a shame list. Thought I would have been hated. Top 10, should we? No, actually, he was actually joined 11th. We've played to Whistle and Rebound. So there you go. The top 20 or so will go on the Bob's Bar after the show, after the broadcast. So you will find out.
Okay, and also there'll be like a full write-up of all of your comments that we've got from the poll
Yes.
on the UK Game Shows article, which Nick has kindly done for us.
Yep. That'll be going up just after this broadcast, so after I've ironed out all the things that don't work. Yep.
As well. All right. Well, there we are. Okay, so just we've had a few responses in, about 20 responses in for the poll, and the general consensus is that currently the voting is 68% of people say that it was a better year than last year for game shows, and 26% says the same, and a few people say the worst.
That bears out in the comments I got with the ballots, actually, roughly that sort of proportion.
I might try and share the screen with you actually, because it updates live as things come in, so that's jolly clever. So it almost looks like it's like the BBC sort of info service. There we are. And if I just zoom in, this will make things.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
There we are. So 66% now say it's better. As far as game shows are concerned, which channel's the best? So it's level pegging between BBC Two and ITV.
That's interesting. What was BBC Two got other than Only Connect?
And
Egghead.
Challenge.
well,
Egghead.
University
Yeah.
Challenge. I think there's quite a
It's
large,
quite
quite a large sort of academic quiz fans in
yeah.
our
Fair enough.
responsive group. But I think about a third of them were in the poll last year. What particular thing makes your favourite game show unmissable? And it's still the old thing of play along ability seems to be the thing that everyone watches. So there we go. And I thought this might be interesting. How do you treat interactivity when watching broadcast television? So those things are use the official hashtag. So people, half of our responses have actually used the official hashtag, which that shows my age, because I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, watch a Twitter feed. 40% of people do that.
Look at that.
13% of people post on Facebook. 30% of people play an app or a red button if available.
Well, so what's the red button these days? Other than in it to win it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And only 4.5% currently phone vote. So that obviously that we have enough people that are cheap. Let's put it that way. Oh, good on you. I mean, there we are. What one thing would you change about UK game shows generally? More charismatic hosts, more action adventure stuff, yeah.
Okay, yes.
More play along, more question, less bands. Just getting on with it generally seems to be a common theme here, but I mean, I think that's nothing new.
Bigger prize funds. Well, that's going to be an interesting one because I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll maybe come back to that a bit later on. So thank you for that. We will return to our poll now, and so this is for the Hall of Fame. So this is for the best game show of the last year. Just hold that up again, Nick. I missed it. There are the official envelope for the best game show, new game show of 2015. These are the last year's results, and it's fair to say they've had mixed fortunes. Wish lists and Release the Hounds and Two Trials come back, and Link and Ejector Seat haven't, or there won't be. I'm informed. So that.
Richard Doddsman tweeted today that he wanted to film more Two Tribes, but he's so busy with Pointless and his day job, as he calls it, being an actual producer, that he's not able to film any this year.
Oh, I did wonder what had happened to it, because I did think, I'm sure it's about this sort of time that
I think he's just too busy, yeah.
Okay.
So that's exclusive, no Two Tribes this year. Yeah. Well, exclusive to Richard Doddsman's Twitter, anyway.
And his 250,000 followers.
Yeah. Okay, so the run through 6 to 10 very quickly. So these are the best new shows of last year. And number 10, Decimate.
Okay.
Interesting. Equal number 8, The Almost Impossible Game Show and Ninja Warrior. Number 6 equal Benchmark and Rebound.
Right.
So it's something quite interesting about this year actually is that digital television's done very well, as you'll find out in the top 20 generally.
Mhm.
The Always Possible Game Show got the digital one there. I do think Ninja Warrior is a better show than Always Possible Game Show. I think I like Always Possible Game Show, but it needs more ideas. I sort of honed in on the sense of humour after about an episode and a half. That's fine. I quite enjoy it. But the actual level of the actual games, I get quite bored of quite quickly, sadly. Benchmark, that's much higher than I think it deserves. I got bored of that very, very quickly. I fell asleep halfway through episode 1, I think it was. Rebound, I liked Rebound, although it was never really that exciting, if we're honest. I thought it was a good quiz. I think with tweaks, it could be a better quiz. I've got no idea if it's coming back or not. It did fairly well for a chase story. It was up on Freeze Out quite considerably. But whether it's good enough, I don't know. Let's downplay his camera. Right. So, top 5 then.
Yep.
At number 5, Hive Minds.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't. Personally, I can't agree with it. I can't do it, so I get bored of it very quickly. But evidently, there are enough people here that can do it and really enjoyed it. I mean, I obviously did quite well to get a second series. I was saying that it was quite interesting. The BBC commitment to regional quotas is basically all the cheap quizzes get filmed elsewhere and they get remade, basically. So yeah, Hive Minds.
I couldn't play along with it because for 2 reasons. One, I just couldn't ever see it, as you were saying. And also, I just found the questions were too difficult. I mean, Only Connect was quite esoteric to start off with. So I feel they need to make the questions easier because you couldn't spot the red herrings, whereas in the rules, Only Connect rules, you can see what the red herrings are.
Yeah, I think it towards the end of this series, it was hitting its stride a bit, and it was definitely getting to a stage where the chemistry was starting to work and people were playing the game well enough. I think the main problem is that there's just billions and billions of possible paths and combinations. You know, if it was something like there was only like one twist in the path, so that it was like the path could go one way, then turn right, and then go another way, then it would just cut down the number of combinations so much. But because they can sort of make it snake around everywhere, that means there's probably about 7 billion combinations for each one. So it's a really, really tough game. It'll be interesting to see how they make it easier. I don't know why they need such big grids for when they're just hiding one word. I think that I would have potentially made the grids a bit smaller for round 1, certainly.
Well, we've got a second series coming, so who knows what we're up to.
Okay.
Number 4, Wild Things. I really like this. I'm really glad it's won awards, basically. It was generally one of the funniest shows I watched last year. And the end game was just really, really good. It was very funny, but it was so tense. And it got about the right ratio of winners to losers as well. It was, I think, two of them lost and 4-1. So yeah, I mean, really, it sells. The first round, the first episode sells itself. When you see two people in animal costumes whack each other over the head with baseball bats, that's it. I'm completely sold. It was just absolutely brilliant.
I didn't see too much of it personally, but
It's not. I have to catch up on it.
Dan, did you watch it?
Oh, it doesn't quite. Oh,
that's still.
I'm having technical issues this evening. It's quite exciting.
Hello. Dan, hello. All right. Okay. All right, let's just move on to number.
Let's move on. Okay, number 3. Now, I was quite surprised this is as high as it got, but fair play to it. It's Beat the Brain.
Okay, it's a shame that Dan's just gone because he worked on that. He wrote about half
He did. He
the
wrote my question.
Should we just change this to
Yes.
something else?
Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, but I thought it was innocuous enough, and certainly quite amiable, and I quite enjoyed it. I think it picked up a lot of votes, and people were thinking, "Yeah, it's quite good to give it a vote." And enough people did that it made top 3, as it turned out. So yeah, there's a Russian version now. That's all very exciting. I'm not quite sure what else to say about Beat Your Brain, really.
Well, I was a question writer on it, and I got some interesting things.
Go for it.
You know how there's a lot of randomly generated stuff on the show. There's a lot of what's the path or what's in what order are all these things in. These all got randomly generated, but I then went through everything that was generated randomly to check that it was random, because you could randomly generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's not it is random, but it doesn't seem random, so it has to. So I spent about 2 whole days randomizing vegetables for one of the games, and it was incredibly boring, but I got paid for it. So
you got paid for being a vegetable randomizer.
I did.
Yes,
that's literally what you're credited as. So
that should definitely be Dan's future job title: randomizer of vegetables.
Yes.
It's going on my CV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought there was a lot done right of this show. The one thing I don't really agree with is the way that they did the end game, where it was like the money just slowly drained to zero. It's sort of like, so for the last few seconds, it's sort of a question of like, are these people going to win like £272 or something? It's sort of like once it gets below £1,000, you don't care really.
Yeah.
Or certainly below 500. So why didn't you just go straight to zero after that? Anyway, I thought that was
interesting. Yeah.
You know, I suggested to them that they would have a low limit. So then once it was gone below that, it was just that was it, time up. But it was a bit like Decimating. You're watching a car crash slowly.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really sort of a moment like the chase where it's exciting and like, are they going to do it or not? It was just a question of marginal wins.
I have a gut feeling that they went over prize budget. Just having watched it, there seemed to be a lot of wins, but I don't know, and that I can't be quoted on that. It just felt like they kept on giving away more than they wanted. I don't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah, well, the BBC always budgets on, I think, everyone winning every show, and then any money you don't give away, you just give back. So.
Oh, really?
I think the BBC aren't. Obviously not going to be very happy about that, but that's my understanding of how it works. Anyway, all right, so that's that. So position 2.
Number 2, Taskmaster, and I'm really pleased about this because that was one of my favourite shows of last year by quite some distance.
Was?
Because it was the tasks were clever and they were continued to allowed to do anything basically to work their way around it, and some of the invention was ingenious. I mean, I love the fact that they have a golf game and someone thinks golf game involving eggs, and allows someone to go and hardball the eggs as a solution,
Right.
and all things like that. And every episode was genuinely full of invention and funny because there was quite the tasks were done properly. But there was scope for doing whatever solution you like to get around it, and then everyone arguing over whether the solution was good afterwards. So it worked really well. I really liked it.
I was sold when there was a game on identify the contents of the pies, and you first saw Frank Skinner going, steak and kidney, smells a bit fishy, I'll go with fish for that one. And then that was the first VT shown, and then you find out with the second VT that one had marbles, one had hot toothpaste, ridiculous things. And so it just showed that the show knew what it was doing in terms of editing as well, in that, okay, Frank went completely the wrong way, and now we're going to show you how to have done it. And it was, as you say, it was just brilliantly constructed.
And it was well cast as well because you'd have people who would sort of play roughly by the book. Someone like Tim Key who'd try and find any loophole in the rules to win. You've got different comedians coming next. It's been commissioned for 2 more series. There are different comedians for each series coming up. So I'm hoping that the combinations still work, because it's the sort of show where if it's a bit different, it could be a bit rubbish. So it worked out a lot better than I hoped, I think. It's interesting. Alex Horne actually used to be a logger for Big Brother, I think, years ago. And Batas is sort of Big Brother stroke Crystal Maisie as inspiration for it all.
Yes, indeed.
And quite modest of him not to make himself host of it, but just rather co-host.
Well, I wonder if that was a Dave thing rather than an Alex Horne thing, but he was certainly not to produce it. So
it was his Edinburgh Fringe show, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So reaction coming in. Jonathan Cresswell says, "Hurrah for Taskmaster at 2. I thought it wasn't really quizzy, but it might be forgotten by people, so it's still a great show." Alex Richards says that instead of vegetable randomizer, you should be known down as Babbage of the Cabbage.
That's brilliant.
Bob Hog with too many consonants says he's calling for 1,000 heartbeats at the top. Well, we haven't had that yet. So Nick put us out of a misery. What is number 1?
What is number 1? By a considerable margin. It is 1,000 heartbeats.
Yay!
Which I liked, but I can't unequivocally say I love it, to be honest. I mean, I'm happy. I'll give it a vote. There were always 3 shows that wasn't get votes to me this year, and it has always been one of them. And there was a pool of 5 shows that could have been filled the other 2 slots. And I'm glad it's done well, but it's not a perfect show by any means. It's still not. It's a much better show series 2 or series 1, but it's still got a little way to go, I think.
Had they not done the second series, I reckon this would have been much lower down on the list.
Well, my feelings on it are that I really like the production values on it, and you could easily write it off as being like, oh, it's just another puzzle show, but when you started to see tweets of people saying, have you seen that there's a string quartet playing on the ITV daytime? Just like, and how weird that is. You sort of go, actually, yeah, that is quite weird. Yeah. And definitely the gimmick works in terms of like people come on the show with like 110 heartbeat, and then the thing of the feedback loop of they get more excited, so the music starts playing, so they get more excited, so the heartbeat speeds up, so they play faster, and so on. That feedback loop definitely works because they can rock it up to 170 just by standing still.
Yeah.
So the only 2 things that is a little bit disappointing is that they didn't do more games with the second series, more new games, and also that I still think graphically it could be a bit sharper because it sort of does look like a bit like a pub quiz machine.
Yes.
Some of the graphics, and the second thing is
I think you had a problem with the cash out gamble play on.
Well, and I think more I have a problem with round 5 because round 5 is such a huge brute of a thing that takes twice as long as virtually every other round. It seems to be the thing that causes people to quit most. Certainly, there's been most people quitting either side of that round. Yeah, Dan, you need to have a quick reboot, I think, I'm afraid.
That's a deliberate thing, because up to that point, the prizes get huge, and it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You've probably not giving away 25 grand episode. I mean, I get that's an issue, but it's something to watch. It doesn't help. I mean, also, I suspect I'm probably different from a norm, but with mini-game formats, I get very bored quite easily. If I keep seeing the same things over and over again. Yeah, you have the same games every episode. That's a format. or you have loads of different games, so I don't know what's coming next, and you don't keep playing the same 5 like the Cube does. And that let me down a bit. I mean, I feel after a week of watching it, I've seen everything the series had to offer. Basically, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's sort of series 3. If it gets a series 3, it's still not rating massively well. It will probably go even better. But I mean, I'm happy it's number 1. I'm happy it's top 5. It wasn't my favourite show of the year, to be honest, but I would have given it a vote anyway, so I can't complain. Yeah.
It's a weird one for me because I felt that it was a program where it was more entertaining to watch when people did badly.
Yeah.
And what has been, I mean, like obviously the lime rice lime
Limerick, yeah.
The Limerick thing from series 1 has happened 3 or 4 times this time, with various different games, and the fact that someone can spend 900 heartbeats getting halfway through one round was quite staggering, and it was just absolute car crash. So from that point of view, I find it quite entertaining to watch. But I mean, I have to say, I did watch sort of every episode up to about Christmas, but I kind of found the episodes after Christmas just a bit too much because I've sort of seen everything there is to see. I think.
I did think that was really weird scheduling. What was the point in saving 2 weeks episodes after Christmas? Anyway, yeah, 1,000 Heartbeats there. Your favourite new show of the year, and a lot of positive comments to that. It'll be up on the website after the broadcast.
Someone's Gordon Donaldson, a big fan of the game shows, just tweeted and say, "Is it me or does Brig look like Judge Rinder with specs?" I think that might just be your internet connection.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a relevant Judge Rinder quote, but I can't right now, unfortunately.
Yes,
I'm too tired.
Talking.
Thank
Thank you for that, Gordon. Anyway, so that is that. Right, we have another poll for you to fill in, and we had quite a lot of fun last time with what you might call like the hidden gem. So, like of all of the sort of big expensive shows that there is, this survey invites you to pick out some of the other shows that you've enjoyed from the past year that you think could do with a mention. So if you go to that URL, tinyurl.com/bbpoll2015p2, one of the questions will be to do with your favorite hidden gems of the year, and we'll have a look at that a bit later. So we'll move on to our final section now, which is the Golden 5, which is for any show which... Nick, you've got to wait for your cue. That's it.
Sorry.
There you go. That's the official envelope. There's the Golden 5. Right, you can put it down now. The Golden 5 of your favourite shows, whether they're old or new, from the past year. And that was the result we had last year. Still a highly quizzy audience we've got, but we have some showing from reality stuff in slot 5. I will come back to that thing about reality versus traditional quiz stuff later. Sorry, ignore that. So
it's very presumptuous because Dave does not know the answer.
No, I don't. I've got various different slides.
Oh, right.
So,
what was it? In a reduced majority.
Yes.
Right.
From 6 to 10.
6 to 10, very quickly. 10, Taskmaster. 9, Countdown. 8, Two Tribes. 7, Tipping Point. 6, University Challenge.
Okay.
Roughly the same as last year, but Two Tribes has dropped from 4th to 8. 5th, It's a Great British Bake Off.
Hey,
what a lovely show it is.
Well, it's exactly the same place it was in last time, and it's getting slews and slews of viewers. Well, I suppose I will kick off this point now, actually, about Um, although quizzes are doing quite well and reality shows are doing quite well, I I still think that sort of proper mainstream big budget quizzes well game shows as family game shows are not quite hitting the mark. I mean, I certainly think Keep It in the Family has not really quite hit the mark, if I'm honest. And there isn't anything of the same scale as Treasure Hunt, You Bet, around these days. Everything's slightly cheaper and slightly smaller scale than about 10 or 15 years ago. I know that's sort of an inevitable given the way that budgets have gone, but nevertheless.
I think there is an issue in that everyone says they want something. They want Generation Game back. They want keep live entertainment, good family entertainment, like Keep It in the Family, and they make it and no one watches it. I do think light entertainment's in a hard position these days because you can't be seen to wasting people's time. They have got 200 other options they could use. If they don't like something that nothing is happening, really, they'll watch something else or something is happening. I mean, Keep It in the Family, well, I could watch something which will change someone's life later on another channel. I think it's in a difficult position right now.
I must admit, go on, Dan.
The BBC are going to try Can't Touch This in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that does.
A Trump getaway car now. It was okay. It's total wipeout at pratfalls. Not quite sure what the point of that is, to be honest. But we'll see. It started off for a new entertainment show. It started off okay, 4 million. It was less than the show going into it, and less than the show going out of it. So watch this space, I think.
Yes, but I mean, if people try doing a show that's a bit different, like Pick Me, then it sort of seems to get a bit sort of hammered for being not sensible enough.
Yeah.
So
it feels like too light for people, I think.
Yeah. Well.
Bring back the mole.
Well, who knows?
All right, let's move on. Position 4.
1,000 heartbeats.
Okay.
Is it at the top of the Hall of Fame? Always seems like the top 5 in the Golden 5.
Yep.
And then tend to drop out year after in favour of the newbies.
Nothing like being fickle.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we said what we can about that, I think.
Yes, you have. Number 3, The Chase.
Yep.
It's just solid, isn't it? You can't really say anything about it, really.
That's what it was last year.
Yep, this is looking pretty similar so far. This year, it's an Australian version, and there's more over there, and Mark's joining it as well. Apparently having a really great time over there. So, yep, great. I don't know what the American one's doing. Has that not been commissioned on GSN yet?
Not yet.
No.
Is it you too old?
Yeah, I mean, if any viewers are above 25, then they practically might as well be dead to a US advertiser, which I find bizarre.
Yeah.
But there we are. That's the way.
I was showing the American version amazing because the amount of budget it has, the amount of viewers it gets is just incredible. Anyway, so there's 2 shows left, and you probably all know what they both are.
Yes.
Now, normally, I always like to say this is a bit like Gladiators for War. Now, Only Connect will start off winning, and then Richard Osman will casually drop this poll into Twitter, and suddenly it will start catching up. And has it overtaken it this year? And the answer is yes, it has. Only Connect's number 2 again, and Pointless is number 1. But as predicted by the exit poll, with a reduced majority, as it turns out. Yeah, slightly less ahead than normal. But even so, still ahead. So, yes, Pointless has won the Golden 5 again. And really, you can't, as boring as it is, you can't really argue with it because it's probably the biggest quiz on television right now. Especially on Saturdays. It's 5 million. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, astounding.
Yeah. Now you can get figured as well. Just second place, first loser, but still second place is good. And that's a good year. Everyone loving, or I say loving, actually hating the singing element. They seem to have brought in for this year's episodes. Whether they'll continue that joke next year, I don't know. Probably. If we complain about it, then we'll probably do it. Is the thing I get from Only Connect. So yeah, a top 5 that looks boringly similar to last year. And we say boring, but in 20 years' time, you'll look back on this and you'll wonder at what point did Pointless stop being any good, and you'll know because the Golden 5 will show it. So we still do it anyway, despite the fact it's boring. So there you go.
And what sort of comments were people sending in about those shows?
I can find out on my screen. Give me a second.
I'll just go through. Just some comments from people. Hashtag BB poll. Alex Richard says, "I'm 25 tomorrow," so the whole US viewers being over 25 as deadline was a bit saddening. Sorry, I didn't mean that really. Gareth Waite says, "1,000 Heartbeats deserves to be in a better time slot." Well, it probably was done as a kind of a replacement for a Tipping Point, maybe, or but I mean, the Chase is still doing good business, so it's still going to be the status quo for a little while. There we are. It's both shows are still just doing good business. It's
comments. Starting from Bond, Bake Off. Bake Off originally told a story that was not just enough to make excellent cakes, but to improve as each week goes. A parable for our times. A reward for pushing yourself a bit further. People commenting that it was amazing how when it wasn't leaked, and given how far ahead they film it, it is pretty impressive actually. Bake Off just got it all right this year. The casting for finalists is pretty much perfect. You want all of them to do well, and the last few minutes are generally moving. And who could argue with that? There's no new comments of 1,000 Heartbeats, so I'm going to just move on. The Chase, Jelly is a good addition, and a regular close files keeps a tea time favourite. Yeah, Jelly Ryan's a new chaser. That's exciting this year. It's gradually becoming the next millionaire of family fortunes, and this year the new chaser kept it fresh. There'll be many more such comments on the write-up at the end. Only Connect. A lot of people saying not absolutely on top form of late, but still not to be missed. That seems to be a trend. I think people were saying questions aren't quite as good this year. I'm not sure I agree, but it's still so good that it's weathered that. It's a quiz fan's dream. Questions are amazing. It's always fantastic. And the team has generally appeared to love being involved. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I pledged a double vote in 2016 to production team desist before sing-along gag that makes it into every episode. Well,
they will just do it even more and more.
Even more, yeah. Pointless, still doing the business, in part, I think, because of a unique relationship between Zahn and Osmond, long may it rain.
Yep.
A celeb version must be BBC's best value primetime show by a country mile. A lot of people were irritated by the repeats. Not much anyone can do about that, really. Said you're running a 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off policy. Like new, longer runs of new episodes. Which seems fair enough. A show never afraid to experiment to question format to allow for maximum variety of material. Which, seems fair enough.
That's something that's been forced on them rather than something that they willingly did, I think.
Well, we were pondering the other day, actually, about at what point I have to change the jackpot round, because some of the questions on that are getting a bit esoteric, I think.
I think they got a bit esoteric about a year ago, and I think they've kind of rescued it a bit. What was that question about Scottish football about? Was it people that had beaten Glasgow in the European Cup or whatever? It was like Port or Loughtree or something. Some really obscure Scottish side that I've never heard of. I'm sure someone out there will be able to tell me better than me. But it was like there was only 2 pointless answers, and it was like one was some Italian side, and the other one was some really, really obscure.
I'm always annoyed when I get. So I'm sort of on the database thing for people to get on a points 100, and it's always opera. I always hate opera, so well done if you get those questions at home. Actually, a lot of people trying to give separate votes to pointless and pointless celebrities. I'm not having that. I'm counting them both as pointless. So if you don't like that, that's tough. But they're basically the same show. So what are you gonna do about it? Basically.
Okay. Let's have a quick look at the results for the poll. So this is the second poll that we did. Thank you for the 28 people that have sent in results so far. It's a favourite genre of game shows. So this is fairly similar to what we had last year in terms of academic quizzes. Are heavily in there, as well as comedy panel games. They always do good business, and family quizzes. And is that children's over there on the left-hand side?
Apparently so.
Really? Okay. Well,
I can't think of any children's shows this year.
Well, my daughter loves Swashbuckle.
Swashbuckle's a great show.
Yeah, she said to me the other day, "Daddy, you can sit down and watch the show and learn the rules, but I know the rules already."
You know, I go around my mum's on Saturday, and my nephew's often there, and they always sort of watch sort of CBBC Quiz Hour, sort of that, and what's the one with futuristic racing cars, with the pods, and they get questions right, give advantages. It's a cartoon.
Yeah, quiz.
That's it. Yeah, I don't like that quite as much, but yeah, Swashbuckle's great actually. It's an adult version.
Which format from abroad would like to see in the UK in 2016? Quite a range of things. Race to Escape, yes, that was definitely a high point.
Yes.
Still a few people holding up for the Genius.
Yeah.
Crime Scene, yeah.
I do think Dero is something that might work over here if it was done in the light-hearted way it was intended, not the American way, which was not very good, really.
Which was just sort of a bit of a quiz with threat. Cutthroat Kitchen. Yes, we had mention of that the other day.
I can't see the Eruditor happening anytime soon. It's been around for so long. It would have happened by now if it would. That's Priestess. That was the Inheritance. That's where it's a quiz, but if you lose it, you could be made someone else. Currently on in France also is 12 Strokes to Midday. I think the translation is. But it's on midday. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Right. So this is the Hidden Gem Award. Outside of the main shows, which game shows are the most underrated? Well, Beat the Brain sort of got qualified for the main lists anyway. So
I said that's fairly mainstream.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah. So really the winner of that is King of the Nerds.
Really?
Which
okay.
It's only
half a show. The American one I quite enjoyed, and the UK one I saw it and I thought you've only got half a show here. And then it's always a quiz, so it's always be won by people who are trivia nerds. And I think, well, that's not what nerds everything about nerdish things. And it wasn't that funny. And I thought I watched it. I always hate watching, so it still counts as a viewer. But I can't say I liked it, to be honest.
Yeah. And so that is that. So go back to my main presentation. So it's pretty much status quo on the Golden Five. So that means Richard Osman is officially the game show Prime Minister of the UK. I did have several other slides for other eventualities, but it turns out that the exit poll was right. So take that, Maury and YouGov.
The John Curtis of the world.
Okay. So that's it. So unless there's any other comments that people have, certainly quite some interesting ones. There was a few shows I was a bit disappointed didn't get a bit of recognition. I
can find out where on the list if you want to know.
Well, certainly, I quite like Blink.
Blink got 3 votes, which was enough for about 21st, I think. Actually, he got 1 less vote in Ice Fiber Zombie Apocalypse.
Right. Because I thought that was a sort of experimental throwaway show that used to get made, back in the late 90s when ITV had a budget for, instead of it being like a roulette wheel after midnight, and they would stick out things like that in that slot. And I'm a bit sad that ITV's now a casino at midnight, and
Yeah.
and they used to do some weird things like that. So I'm glad that that sort of thing is coming back a little bit.
I just wanted to point out actually because I said digital done very well. Taskmaster, Wild Things, Almost Possible Game Show. 3 were top 10, but 11th was with 180, just one vote off making the top 10, which I thought was pretty good actually. Good games, good end game. Very wrong channel, but yeah, that's digital very much over-representing, I think, this time around.
Yes, it's it used to bother me greatly when I was working on AnyConnect that the amount of people that could be bothered to switch from BBC Two to BBC Four from the end of University Challenge over to the start of our show was about 1 in 10 people. It's like University Challenge would get like nearly 3 million people, and AnyConnect you would get like 300,000. And you used to think, goodness me, that's such a low ratio. And eventually we through heavy cross promotion with University Challenge that went up to about 1 million over the years, and then it's hopped over to BBC Two now, so it has no problem. It's a bit bizarre that it's ended up there because it was always intended to be a BBC Two program, sort of to partner with University Challenge, but it just took about 3 years of commissioning to even get on BBC Four. So anyway, there we are. So some surprises and yet some quite similar. People are trying to come up with people to do a version of Slogged and Rob in the UK. Currently Slogged and Clarkson or Slogged and Simon Cowell has been.
Yes, they made me laugh.
So that is that. So thanks very much to Dan and Nick. And so Nick, what is going to happen now with the write-ups?
Okay, the write-up is done, but because of UK Game Shows wiki style, I'm going to put it in and make sure all the links work correctly. And then I'll advertise it on Twitter, the full write-up, all your comments. It's quite entertaining. After that, Bothers Bar, percentages for the top 20-ish shows, so you can see what's doing quite out the top 10. And very probably the comments of 5-Star Family Reunion, which I don't think, which it will be a waste not to put up. So that'll probably be in the next half an hour or so. I'll keep it on Twitter. You'll find out then.
All right. Okay. Well, we're just about done in an hour, so that was about what I was aiming for. So thanks to the 50 or so people that have been watching. And for all of your game show news, then those are the URLs you need: UKGameshows.com and bothersbar.co.uk for all the write-ups and all the after party stuff. And that is about us done. So thank you to Dan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, everyone.
And from me, David Bodicam, it's good night. Good night.